aside. You just can't go back and make it right. 'Cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now it's stuck. 'Cause it's too late, you roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Yeah, I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not giving sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not giving sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. Say it again, say it again. You're saying you feel bad, so say it again. Only you can do that. My heart was open wide. I could feel it breaking deep inside. 'Cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now we're stuck. 'Cause it's too late, you roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Oh, I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not giving sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not giving sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, I'm not giving sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one.
There's nothing that I can say or do, and it seems that words won't change a lot. How can I make it through to you when these silly little words are all that I've got? We can try to just pretend I could hold you once again, 'cause I'm scared of feeling lost tonight. When I wake up, it's you that I think of. It's true, it's so obvious, but I'm holding back because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like I feel you. Oh no. And I must confess that you don't touch me like I touch you. Never blush, baby, when I kiss you, but you don't. And I must confess that I wish I'd find someone new and forget about you. 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 There's only so much that we can save, like a storyline and a few cliches. When we break up, it's true that I'm making up this through. I don't wanna pass the buck, but we're in this place because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like
Hey, and welcome back to the UnBought and UnBossed show. I'm your host, Devontae Goins. Coming up today on the show, I know I haven't been here in a couple weeks. I'm going to explain what happened and why the show took a hiatus, and I have some more good news for you. And we have to get into something that's been going on in here around Columbus that's really getting under my skin, and we are going to address it right here, right now, when the show begins in just a few seconds. Let's roll, y'all.
Now listen here on the UnBought and UnBossed show with Devontae Goins. He's here to skip past all the drama by reporting on news stories that are relevant to Black America without all the hyped up false context that drives ratings. Our news deserves special attention, and Devontae intends on giving it that attention right here on this show. Right now, this is the UnBought and UnBossed show with Devontae Goins.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a long time. It feels like an eternity since we did a show. It kind of has been. So let me tell you what happened. So about 2 weeks ago, when the Proud Boys, or the KKK, came to town here in Columbus. So that was on, I want to be precise to make sure I'm giving you all the correct dates. So on July 18th, that would have been the day after the Reverend Dr. C.T. Vivian and the iconic Congressman John Lewis both passed away. So that Saturday, July 18th, the Proud Boys, the KKK, came to Columbus, Ohio, to the State House to do a protest and things like that. On that day, I fell very, very ill. So what happened was I had all of the COVID-19, the coronavirus symptoms. From temperature, high temperature with a fever, to body shakes and aches, to fatigue, you name it, I had those symptoms. So I went down there, and I'm like, I'm going to power through this. It's not COVID. I'm going to power through it, though. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be a trooper. So I go down there, and I arrived down at like 9:30 so I could find a parking space and all that good stuff. And I find a parking space, I park, and then I sit there for a moment. I get out the car, walk over to the State House, and I'm chatting with people and things like that. And then all of a sudden, the feeling gets worse. So I tell a couple people, hey, here's where I'm parked. Come, here's my number. Come wake me up when it's time for everything to get kicked off, to let me know what's going on. And so they did. And I want to take a quick commercial break before I continue telling you the rest of the story.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. To submit a request on our website, don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. To submit a request on our website, don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
Hey, so you guys saw a couple commercials right there, and while all that was going on, I had to take a really important call. It's always something when you go live, the inedible happens. An important call that you can't push off will come in, and so that's what happened behind the scenes. But getting back to the story I was telling, so I told a couple people that, hey, look, I'm going to my car, I don't feel well, just let me lay down for for a few minutes and take a nap, and maybe I feel a little bit better. So I lay down for about 2 hours, get up at 12 o'clock. My phone's ringing, scheduled, and then I felt worse than I did before. So I drive myself to Grant Hospital in downtown Columbus, which is like 2 minutes away from the State House where I was. And I get to Grant, I get into the emergency room, and they are looking at me like, how in the world did you make it here, Devontae? And I said, I don't know. I describe what I'm feeling. They take my temperature. My temperature was at 108 degrees, everybody. 108 degrees. And like I said, I felt like I had all the COVID symptoms. So they immediately rushed me back, get me in a room, X, Y, and Z, and they begin running a series of tests from COVID to everything else. I tested negative, thank God, for the coronavirus. I tested negative for it, but I tested negative for everything else, and that worried them. So they sent me home, and they said quarantine and things like that. And main thing, get some rest. So for the last 2 weeks, I have been taking it easy. Well, for the first week I was off, I couldn't get out of bed or anything like that. I could barely walk. I couldn't swallow, couldn't anything. The symptoms of the sickness I was feeling was very, very horrible and awful, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But last week, I began to slide back into things easy. As the song said, easy as a Sunday morning. As the Commodore said, that's how I slid back into my routine of working. Because if anybody knows me, they know I'm a workaholic and things like that. And so I sleep 2 to 3 hours on average a night, trying to run not only the news network but my other company as well, which is a PPE supply company. And so that's where I've been for the 2 weeks, recuperating, trying to get my health under control. But so that happened. But not only did that happen over the last 2 weeks, but also something else happened over the last 2 weeks that I really want to get into talking about, that really, really bothered me. And that is that the Columbus Police Department began dropping warrants on protesters, peaceful protesters, nonetheless, for no reason whatsoever, on days when they weren't even protesting. So last week, I spent a great deal of time in courtrooms in downtown Columbus, making sure that people were all right, and making sure that the warrants was dropped and that I could testify on their behalf and things like this, because what the Columbus Police Department is doing is outrageous. Now, about a month ago, I was in downtown Columbus at City Hall at a protest covering it, and I was told by an officer that word had come down from rank and file within the Columbus Police Department that they were to end the protests going on in downtown Columbus by any means necessary. Now, I've reached out to the Columbus Police Department several times over the weekend to inform them that, hey, look, I'm running a story on the UnBossed network, on the UnBought and UnBossed show. We're going to talk about it, and this thing is going to become a story, because what you guys are doing is wrong on so many levels. It's not only wrong, but it's unlawful. And you guys should feel the repercussions from the public about it for what you all are doing. Now, with that set aside, and what you all knowing that, there was an article published in the Columbus Free Press that I am going to share with you, and we're going to make our way through that I want to go over with you all. But with that being said, I wanted to let you know, over the next couple weeks, I am making it the mission of this show and of this network to partner with other independent media outlets so we can do an investigatory report on what's going on in downtown Columbus, the real story that you all won't get to see on 10 TV News or on NBC4 or ABC6 or Fox 28. You just won't see it. You won't even hear about it on NPR News. But I'm trying to work right now with other outlets so we could team up and get this done and get the real story about what's going on in downtown Columbus with protesters out there, because what's going on is wrong. It's criminal when warrants are dropped, and A, you don't know that a warrant was dropped on you, and B, you did nothing wrong. You weren't even down there when the warrant alleges you were down there protesting. So the Columbus police, they're ratcheting it up for no apparent reason, and it's frustrating me. I spent the weekend and last week just pissed off and enraged about it. But not only am I enraged about that, I'm in many ways, everybody, enraged and upset about what's been going on in downtown Columbus among different protest groups and how certain organizations are putting other protesters down. There's like all this infighting and things going, and it's totally wrong. It's like they've lost the cause and the mission and things like that, because make no mistake about it, everybody, for the first week of the protests here in Columbus, so the last week of May going into the first week of June, the country was watching Columbus, Ohio, taking their cues for action from Columbus, Ohio. They weren't taking their cues from Portland, Oregon, or anywhere else. They were taking their cues, and the nation was watching us and how we fought back against the injustice against black folks from the Columbus Police Department here in this city. Now, I need you all to remember their names, who protesters are down there protesting. Tyree King, Henry Green, and I can go on and on and on and on listing names that the Columbus Police Department has killed. These are black and brown brothers that CPD has killed. And I'm going to continue to mention their names, but I'm also going to throw another name in there because this has been well over 100+ days since Sister Breonna Taylor was killed, and still no justice has been done. None whatsoever. So, I'm going to continue to say their names until justice is served. I'm going to continue to demand justice. I'm going to show this clip right here in just a second. I'm going to share my screen because last week on Thursday evening, I got so upset and like enraged at the meeting that was happening downtown. People talking about the same old stuff. And mind you, I've only gone to 2 of the nightly meetings, but I got so pissed off and enraged about all that's going on, and people call me and tell me what's going on and all of that, and that nothing was really coming about it, that I walked away from the meeting, got in the middle of the street, and walked around with my fists up like this, up and down Broad, and finally I made my way down to the middle of Broad and High, and I got in some good old-fashioned trouble when I sat down on the ground for nearly 90 minutes in the middle of Broad and High. 90 minutes. People were walking up to me saying, "Devontae, you need to get up. It's not safe." And I said, it's not safe when I walk out my door every day. There's a highly good possible chance that I can get shot and killed, not just by the police, but by racist folk every day when I walk out my house. There's a highly good chance that the philosophy that I live by, that today could be my last day, so I might as well say what needs to be said and do it while I still have a chance. That I wasn't afraid to sit down in the middle of Broad and High. So a couple of cop cruisers, they came by, didn't say anything, and finally, about 45 to 50 minutes through my sit-in in the middle of Broad and High last week, a Columbus police officer decides to stop. And he's like, you got to get up, you got to get up. People are around me, bikers defending me like, hey, look, you don't got to get up. We're just here making sure nobody hits him and things like that. And I thank God for those bikers and everybody who stood beside me. There was one of my good friends that stood right there beside me for quite a bit of time, and somebody came to relieve him. I'm thankful for that. I'm not going to mention his name, but they took the risks with me. And they were like, we're not going to make him get up, and he's not going to get up. We've tried. And so finally, what that officer told me, he never got out of his cruiser. He said, look, this is unsafe, but I could tell you right now that I was called out here to make sure you get up. And if you don't get up, the riot police, or basically what he meant by riot police in riot gear, are suiting up right now to come out here and get you. So another 25 minutes roll by, and after that time rolls by, behind me, heading east, I'm sorry, not east, but west on Broad, two cruisers pull up at the corner of Broad and High. And when they pull up on me, I immediately noticed that they sent a black sergeant out there and a black officer to ask the black brother to get up. I can't make this stuff up. I'm going to show. Here, let me just pull up the video right now, because I can't make this stuff up, folk. And it just didn't make any sense to me that they would send the black brother out there to ensure that I stood up. It didn't make any sense at all to me. So I want to show you all some of this video right here. And as you see, nothing's going on. This is all shot first person. These are the bikers I was telling you that came out about 30 minutes through me sitting there. Not only did bikers show up, but I later found out that medics were so inspired that of what I was doing that they showed up as well and came out on the scene, and it was amazing just to make sure I and everybody else was safe, because as I was sitting there, protesters began to walk around in the crosswalk and protesting in solidarity with me. To make sure nobody didn't hit me. But this is the cruiser I was telling you about that rolled up on me, cruiser number 639, to tell me that, hey, look, if you don't get up, the riot police are on their way out. And so at this juncture in time, you can see I had been sitting there. The timestamp on this says about 58 minutes, but I had been sitting there about an hour and 8 minutes. I started rolling a little after I sat down, because I said, all right, folk need to see this, that I've just decided to get in some good old-fashioned trouble. And to keep in mind, everybody, I was prepared to go to jail that night. I had made up in my mind that I might very well go to jail, but I'm going to go to jail because this is a peaceful protest, a peaceful, non-violent, direct protest, and I'm doing nothing wrong. And so the police, they roll up on me. I'm sitting there, and then as you see right here, that's the sergeant that I said who walked up on me. And me and the sergeant, you see somebody else holding my phone right there. The sergeant is having a conversation with me because he's like, Devontae, well, he didn't say my name. He said, sir, are you going to get up? And I said, that highly depends on if you can answer a couple questions, if you could have a conversation with me. And he said, all right, I'll have a conversation with you. I said, sir, officer, sergeant, I said, how do you feel about black brothers and sisters getting shot and killed and all the injustices going on among the police officers? Mind you, this is a black sergeant they sent out there. And they also sent a black officer. Now, about 4 or 5 minutes later, some white officers show up just to back them up. Now, they use all this for little old me. They use all these resources for little old me. For no reason whatsoever. But, hey, it is what it is. Because as far as I'm concerned, I was getting in some good old-fashioned trouble. So as you see right there, we're still out there talking. The police, the sergeant just walked away. So he said, I feel terrible about what's going on, but he's like, I need you to get up because it's unsafe. I said, I know it's unsafe, officer, but it's unsafe when your officers are killing brown and black brothers and sisters who look like me for no reason. And he was like, I agree, but I still need you to get up because if you don't get up, I will take you to jail. I said, I am ready to go. I said, now answer this question for me, sir. I said, why did they send 2 black officers out here? And he gave me the answer that this is my cruiser district. I said, I've been out here since day one, sir, and I've been out here at all hours of the night and day, and I've never seen you here. And he said, well, this is my cruiser district, and I'm here all the time. And I said, no, that might fly with somebody else, but it won't fly with me because I know that's not true, as well as you know it's not true. But we had a civil conversation. That's ultimately why I got up and I walked away after sitting there 90 minutes because he didn't yell, he didn't demand, he had a civil conversation with me. And because of that, I was just ecstatic. Now, in this next clip I want to show you right after the break, I want you to stick around for it because this is what really gets me.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. Just submit a request on our website. Don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
Welcome back to the UnBought and UnBossed show. So, as you saw right there in that last commercial, that we have a new show coming to the network, and I am just flat out excited about what Sister Sandrita is about to do. It's called Minding Your Black-Owned Business. It's going to be a phenomenal show dropping later this month. I can't say too much about it right now, other than I'm just flat out excited that more and more shows are being added to the network and this platform every single day. We're out here working, more and more sponsors are coming on, and this is all as a result to you, the viewer, for supporting Black-owned, independent, local media. And I couldn't say how excited and just enthusiastic I am about that. Now, back to what we were talking about. So I just told you how I got in some good old-fashioned trouble. And prior to that, we were talking about how CPD is dropping warrants on nonviolent protesters for no apparent reasons on days when they weren't even protesting. And I'm telling you what the warrants that I read said. And when I say warrants, I'm talking about a warrant for their arrests. A warrant for their arrests. Just so we're clear, everybody. A warrant for their arrests. Now, I want to tie in an incident that happened on last Friday to that. But as I'm tying and juxtaposing that incident to this, I want to show you what a waste of resources that CPD is utilizing for just to send a couple ambulances. But as I do that, I want to roll and talk about this in this new segment right here.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, no.
This is a brand new segment called Hell to the No, but it is happening. Hell to the no. CPD is really wasting their resources. So on last Friday, CPD sent out 17 cruisers and nearly 30 officers just to respond to one person having a seizure. Thank God that we had our own street medics down there who are highly trained and capable, who work in hospitals and things like that, who are nurses, to care for them, because they were on scene for about 7 minutes, and then they diverted the ambulances, and the ambulances never came. I want to roll this clip to you all right now, because this is just outrageously crazy and insane. But this stuff happens all the time. But you don't hear about this type of stuff on 10 TV News or NBC4. So right here, if you see officers are talking to the protesters, and they are letting the protesters are letting the officers know that, hey, look, that you all, it's unnecessary for all of you. You all need to back off, because it's actually going to make this illness from the person who had the seizure worse. It's going to make it worse.
Like 25 officers just to send in bring in one medic for no reason.
You hear? You see that? I just told you. Now look, I want to fast forward ahead.
Person had a seizure.
Look at all these cruisers.
What a waste of.
You see 2 pulling off.
Dollars.
You see 3.
Oh, I stand corrected. It was more than 25, because they're right.
3, 4, 5. You see them in the back of the trunk. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 cruisers thus far for one incident. And then some turned the opposite way for one incident, people. And then he never did get a medical, the medical attention from the CFD, the Columbus Fire Department, because the police never let him come in, because they said the protesters were violent. But I didn't see anybody been violent there. I didn't see it happening at all. But What do I know as a black man? What do I know as independent journalist who was on scene for a better part of the night? What I do know is that CPD, doing what they did, wasted city tax dollars and diverted resources away from where they needed to be at. And then the police chief, Thomas Quinlan, and director of public safety at Net Pettis, and then the mayor, Andy Ginther, they all want to get on TV and have these press conferences that the violence is high and that 7 to 8 people got shot and the youngest was 14 and X, Y, and Z. We need to stop the violence. But how can we stop the violence when you guys are diverting resources to things that they really don't need to be diverted to? I'm just saying, I don't know anything. What do I know? What do I fundamentally know? Because after all, I'm what they call or deem a protester. But this madness, it needs to stop with CPD. What they're doing, diverting things like that, and then we know they've been given the order from the rank and file to end the protests by any means necessary, so they're issuing false warrants and people's lives are being uprooted. Now, are they prepared for this? I think when they go down there, they know that this type of thing could happen, but they don't ever expect it to happen. But it does. But they does. But it does. But it does. They don't ever expect it to happen, but it does. And you know what? They say that their main mission, they take an oath. CPD do. They take an oath to protect and serve, but I don't see them doing much protecting or serving when they're wasting our resources like that, when they are diverting officers away from where they could be utilized more or best at. I really don't get it. I don't get it at all. And then earlier that evening, I had just left from down there, and I had an alert on Facebook, and I turned on from that notification I get, I turn on a Facebook Live, and I see police officers on the bike unit throwing their bikes at protesters. I can't make this shit up, folks. I can't. This is what CPD is doing. And it is criminal. But nobody's out there talking about this or reporting on this. But this is what they're doing. But nobody wants to have that conversation. Nobody wants to talk about that, even though it's the truth. You just don't. But hey, I'm going to talk about it. I really am, because it's painful. Not only is it painful, but it makes you wonder why in the first place, at least it makes me wonder as a black person, why in the first place do I even call Columbus, which is being coined America's first smart city or America's opportunity city, why do I even call it home? Why? But hey, there were a set of warrants, everybody, just for your knowledge. If you've been down there protesting, I would implore you to go check it out. There was a set of warrants that dropped on Friday. False warrants, but they did. Now, I know what some of you may be saying, that maybe they have informants down there who are protesters. Now, that could be very well true. The thought has crossed my mind, and it has crossed a lot of people's mind, but it's they're doing it all over, and it really pisses me off. Now, when we come back, I want to take a moment to talk about, or not talk about, but to begin the conversation on where I think we as a city need to go from here. That's when we come back. Watch this space.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. To submit a request on our website, don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
So, back here live. Where do we as a city go from here? What's next? Well, what I fundamentally believe that we as Black Columbus need to begin to do is, I may not agree what goes on down at City Hall. I may not agree with what CPD is doing, but let me tell you, where do we go from here? Is that a little under 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago now, the Columbus City Council approved an ordinance to change the Columbus City law. Now, what are they changing the law for, Devontae? Well, they are amending and adding into the Columbus City law that there needs to be a police civilian review board. And the way that that's going to come to fruition is if we get our asses out there in November and we vote. Because we need to make sure that we have a civilian review board in place that has subpoena power. Now, it's not enough to have a police civilian review board unless we get subpoena power. And the only way that's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Black Columbus, is if we get our asses up and we vote. So what's next? What's next is to make sure we are all registered to vote. Not only are we all registered to vote, but because COVID-19 is real, we need to make sure that if we are going to do the mail-in ballot, that we get our ballots early enough so the moment that they come out and that they are available, and I believe they are available as early as the end of September. You get your ballot, your absentee ballot, you fill it out, and you send it back in right away. You don't wait to the last minute, because mail-in ballots are getting lost in the mail and your vote is never counting. But Corona is real, and you need to make sure that your ballot is placed in. That's what's next. One thing, we make sure we get this damn civilian review board with subpoena power over the Columbus Police Department in effect, and we make sure that the law in the city of Columbus reflects that. Because we can no longer go through what we are going through as a community, as a city, when it comes to the way that CPD is treating us as black and brown individuals. We need this. And it's going to happen. We're going to make that a fruition. And that's why every day from now into November, you don't have to vote for the president. You don't have to vote for the United States Congress. You don't. I don't care if you vote for any of that. Ideally, I do want you to vote for that, but I don't care. We have one issue locally that I care about, and that is making sure we vote for this civilian review board. One issue from now into November. Now, there are other things and other countermeasures that are going on and that are beginning to be in the works. Where do we go from here? But the main issue and the main thing I will be pushing is making sure everybody is registered to vote and that everybody is voting on this one issue. I don't care if you don't vote on anything else, but you got to vote on this issue. You got to vote yes on it. We need you to vote yes, because we are one of the only and last major cities not to have some sort of police oversight review board by the community. It's just not done. It's not out there in Columbus. And we need one. If you look in Chicago, they have one. If you look in Cleveland, I believe they have one. Cincinnati, they have one. New York City, all these other major metropolises, they have them, but we don't. And that's why we need to make sure we are out and we are at the polls and we are registered to vote, and that we vote on this issue if we don't vote on another issue. That's that. Can't put it any other way. Now that that's out the way, that's my spill, my rant for today. I know the show took place a little bit later today. We're going to get back to our 6 o'clock time tomorrow, and tomorrow I have a lot more that I wanted to get to, but I kind of wanted to update you and just get a lot off of my chest, and I'm so happy that you all allowed me to, and I'm happy to be back in the studio and to be back talking with all of you. I love you all. Until next time, Black Columbus, remember to keep it real, because your conscience depends on it. Holla! I'm out!
Thank you for watching the UnBought and UnBossed show. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, what's holding you back from smashing the subscribe button? Don't forget to hit the bell to get notified every time we post a new episode. Devontae will be back here every single weekday, breaking down the most important news stories to Black America. We'd love for you to share this episode with your friends and family. And remember, Black America, to keep it real, because your conscience depends on it.